Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our last match of the day here at Starladder Season 8, Day 16 coverage on Beyond the Summit. I am Zayori, once again joined by Hippie, and here we have Power Rangers facing off against the mighty Mouz Sports. Hippie, my friend, last game of the day, how art thou?
I'm good, man. Just curious to see if Power Rangers can slay Mouz Sports like they just slayed Alliance.
Yeah, they brought the skills, and well, they paid the bills as well. CM first pick here. That did open for a Rubik Nature's Prophet, snagged by Mouz, and Doom going to be that second pick for Power Rangers. Now I have to comment on this Rubik here, and I don't know if you've had the privilege of watching the past few days of Starladder, where we've seen Mouz, but they have just been out of control with Rubik. They had that epic Luna turnaround where they stole the Eclipse and just started annihilating people. Rubik is insane. I believe it is Crit who plays the Rubik. And now that I'm looking at their roster, it's sort of eluding me. I believe it is Crit, though. And he's been out of his mind with Rubik. He's got this interesting little jungle strategy that he does where he pulls these creeps from the mid lane and just farms up hard, denies some experience, and, well, keep an eye out for him in this game, Hippie. I think you'll be surprised at some of the fancy footwork Rubik does about the jungle.
Alright, man. I am always up for some good Rubik play. Would you say he's on the same level as Kuroki?
Based on the plays that Merlini and I saw over the past 2 days, I think he gives Kuroki a run for his money for sure. Kuroki probably still the ultimate Rubik player. He does have a very long history, but really impressive. It's part of it is just based around this farming path that he does so that he gets level 6 very, very quickly. And I mean, in the game that I was talking about where he stole the Eclipse, part of what made it so crazy is he was able to get an Ag Scepter right when he stole it. So he had this insane Eclipse where they were just walking around, and basically if Rubik found you, you were dead before telekinesis would even wear off. So big plays have come out. I will not lie, they have been of epic proportion. So not surprised to see Rubik first picked for Mouz, though in any other team I'd be a little surprised to see Rubik in that first picking cluster. So just, you know, playing that insight role here for the one and only time in this game that I will take the lead on insight here, Hippie.
Do you think that's why they picked the Doom? Because Power Rangers knows that Rubik is so dangerous.
Very possible.
I mean, Doom can lock down anyone, and if you do a Rubik, especially once he has Ags and can get that 5-second steal, he can get off a lot of big spells in one fight. Definitely a viable Doom target.
Absolutely, and that very well may be some of the motivation for Power Rangers here. And Power Rangers going to hold steady in their banning of Slark. They seem very disinterested. I thought maybe against Alliance it was because Loda had played Slark so well, but they're going to ban him out here once again. And just a hero that Power Rangers really don't like to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame them. I think in general, Slark, I'm not sure it's so much that he's certainly strong. I'm not sure it's because he's too strong. But I think it's the frustration factor of that ult being uncounterable once it's running. There's nothing you can do, basically. I mean, aside from positioning, if you can get yourself away from him, obviously, it's fine.
Yeah.
But unless you have some sort of positioning aid, you're just done once he pops that ultimate.
Absolutely. So Power Rangers going to stick to their guns here, though, against the Alliance last match. They were very successful with that Weaver being played by Moon. I don't know if I go so far as to say one of his signature heroes, but he does play Weaver a pretty fair amount, and he will most likely be on the Weaver here again in this match. Kind of curious if Power Rangers are going to go for another Queen of Pain pickup. Dragonite has been snagged by Mouz Sports. Any thoughts about a potential Quamp versus DK mid matchup, Hippie?
Certainly possible. I mean, it's you know, very, very good for the Quap. She has good enough base damage to get a lot of the last hits and harass the Dragonite. Of course, the Dragonite will be thoroughly annoyed, like pretty much everyone, by that Shadow Strike. They're going to grab the Abaddon right here. So that pretty much means the Doom is going to be either mid or in the 3 position. So I'm wondering if Wolverine there is going to play the safe lane farming Doom, and they're going to go aggressive with that Weaver CM Abaddon.
Yeah. They very well could. That is one option here amongst them with Doom in that safe lane. And they could still grab Queen of Pain for mid if that's what they want to go for. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mouz ban out Queen of Pain in this last ban. And there it is. There's the Quap ban. So Power Rangers not going to fish their wish, I suppose you could say. But still plenty of other scary mid heroes in the pool. Luna going to be that final ban for Mouz Sports. Or for Power Rangers, pardon me. So let's see here. What do they need? They've got themselves a Rubik Nature's Prophet and a Wind Ranger, so probably going to be that off-lane Nature's Prophet supporting the Rubik as well as the Wind Ranger. So they're going to need that one position, really. Could be a lifestealer here. He is still in the pool. It does pair semi-well with that Nature's Prophet. Not the best delivery mechanism, but still a delivery mechanism nonetheless.
He kind of gets kited really hard by Weaver, though. I think that's the biggest problem I'd have right there.
And Doom does work pretty well against lifestealer.
Yeah, Doom has the really good... not only the Doom. Well, not just the Doom, but also the Scorched Earth. He's real hard to chase down. Yeah. Lifestealer's greatest weakness is getting kited.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So, an option here, but maybe not one that Mouz will want to go for. Lifestealer really has fallen off in popularity. I don't know. I don't know what they want to grab here. I don't know who they want to play in the one position. I like the Luna ban. I think Luna would have worked pretty well here if Mouz Sports could have opened up enough space for her to get that momentum.
Well, the more ranged you have in your lane, the better off Luna is with that extra R. They're going to do the Clinks.
Interesting. All right. Well, as we always go back to, Clinks can absolutely play that one position these days. Now that the Searing Arrows does cut through BKB, gives him a bit more viability as a bit of hard carry style. Probably still going to go Orchid first, but an interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it pans out. I think you're right. He will probably go the Orchid route, but you could always have the Eternal Envy Blinks. I mean, that's always an item path that he can get away with, but I do think at this one it would probably be an Orchid. There's too many good people to silence.
Yeah. 5 seconds remaining. So I was going to say this Mouz Sports roster lacking lockdown a little bit, especially against a Weaver. That really is the name of the game, but they have a fair amount. They've got the Telekinesis, they've got the Dragon Tail, Shackle Shot, not the most reliable, but a crowd control nonetheless. So I think they have an appropriate amount of tools in their repertoire here to try and deal with that Weaver, though he is still a slippery snake. That is, well, pretty difficult to lock down, especially when you have the Abaddon paired with him. That is going to make things maybe a bit more difficult for Mouz here. I do like that pickup from Power Rangers. That is a combo that they like to run.
I'd like to see a Puck right here from Power Rangers. Yep. I think it would give him a little more control that they could use to their advantage. Hold people down for the Crystal Maiden. They've got pretty good physical damage, especially if Doom goes for some DPS items. He might go Aura build, and even then, once he kind of transfers into his full Aura build, he gets his hands on the Alpha Wolf. He still hits pretty hard, even with just some basic items.
Oh,
so I think
for sure.
Between Weaver and Doom, they have plenty of physical output. So I think that AoE control would be very, very valuable for them.
Yeah, I think Puck or Storm Spirit would probably be their best bets here. I'm trying to remember if Power Rangers... I think they do like to run Storm Spirit. I think Cheshire Cat is a pretty solid Storm Spirit player if memory is serving. But either or. Both would survive or add a little bit of lockdown. And I like the idea of having a very mobile, aggressive mid-hero. Sort of the Storm Spirit is what I'm talking about here to pair with the Weaver, because they only have a finite amount of lockdown. And no, going to go the Invoker route, but still I think a prominent pick here. No complaints from me. And that will be the Slash Master, Wolverine.
Yeah, it's going to be Wolverine.
Wow. I still want to know who that guy is. It bothers me when people, like pro players, have their profiles on private. It's like, who is that guy? Is you know, what is the official Power Rangers roster? Could he be? Is that ZXC?
Maybe.
Or is it a stand-in?
I really prefer calling him Wolverine. I have no idea because I can't see his what he's played as. But.
I have no clue. So it might be ZXC. He is their traditional mid player. So, well, yeah, Backslash Man. I like calling him Backslash Man. That sounds... Wolverine's cooler, but I don't know. I like to poke some fun at the lack of tagging here, because that is a pet peeve of mine I have complained about on many an occasion, and I will take this opportunity to stand upon my soapbox and say, I say nay, my friends. You should tag to your true identity. I'm always Zyori. I don't do anything silly with my name. Pro players should follow suit.
You're setting the example now, eh? You're the shining star that the Dota community should look up to.
That's a scary precedent. I don't know about that, but it is true. That really is one of my pet peeves. Starladder tends to be pretty good. I see Vlad often asking people to tag up appropriately. He is a bit of a stickler, and I do like Vlad. I wish I had spent more time getting to know him at MLG Columbus, because he seems like a true badass to every form of the definition. He was going hard at MLG C-Bus, and I felt bad talking to him because he was solo casting the whole time. I figured the last thing he would want to do is talk any extra than he already had to. So I just left him to his own devices, and I waved at him once, and he follows me on Twitter now, so I guess we're buddies. All right, so let's introduce our rosters here. Of course, on the Radiant side, we do have Mouz Sports. Down in the bottom lane, Unicorn going to be playing on the Clinks in that one position. He will be supported by Heart, playing on the Windrunner, a cute little face piece she's got going on. I don't know if I've seen that one before. It's pretty adorable. In the mid lane, going to have Exist playing on the Mighty Dragon Knight. Crit going to be on the Rubik, so I was right. And again, Hippie, I don't know if you're doing your work here, but you got to keep an eye on what Crit's up to and track what he's doing here in the jungle. Up in the top lane.
That's not new. I've seen that before.
No, well, just wait. Just wait. It's going to continue to get exciting here. Just buckle your seatbelt, sit back, relax.
Right. I'm watching.
We've got Ace here in the top lane on that Nature's Prophet. And, of course, on the dire side, we have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers hot off their win over Alliance. Here in the round-robin stage of Starladder Season 8, we've got Cheshire Cat in the solo safe lane playing on the Doombringer. In the mid, who could be ZXC, could also be a stand-in, is going to be playing on the Invoker. I call him /man, Hippie calls him Wolverine. You can choose your own name. It's like Build-A-Bear, build an Invoker. Down in the bottom lane, we've got Power Rangers. J4 going to be on the Abaddon. F-God going to be on the Crystal Maiden here. And, of course, Moon going to be playing as Weaver once again, and he will be hard farming down here in the long lane. So Power Rangers will indeed do the long lane tri-lane to open up a little bit of space for Doom, and he should fare very nicely up top against the Nature's Prophet. Conversely, Ace going to have a pretty good time here. He is going to rack up some last hits. He's sitting 5-4 against the 2-0 Doom. So Cheshire Cat is actually struggling a lot more than he should be, and that's a little bit surprising.
I mean, I don't know. It's not like he has anyone in a position to help him. I wouldn't expect Doom to do particularly well against a well-played Nature's Prophet between the Treant. I mean, he's got negative armor to start. I mean, it shows you 0, but it's very slightly negative. It's just not quite -1. So you've got the Prophet auto attacks. You have Treant harass if he needs it. You have all sorts of things. I would expect the Doom to get pushed out of that lane handily. But maybe that's just me. And you can tell Power Rangers, they've been watching Mouz's games. They're looking for crit right now. Look at the positioning from the Abaddon, checking everything out down there. And the Crystal Maiden, I think, wants to be there as well. But it looks like they have a read on where she is, seeing some pinks coming out.
Yeah, that is indeed Mouz pinging out. We see this cute little arrow here coming out from Exist, so they may pull a rotation to try and punish these supports. But you are absolutely right. It would appear that Power Rangers have done a bit of homework here, and they are not going to let Crit have free roam in the jungle. And that's something that we've seen in the past successful games of Mouz over the past few days where Rubik's gotten out of control. He has done this basically uncontested. Teams have not been wise to his antics in the jungle. They've just assumed, oh, it's Rubik in the jungle. Let him have fun. Let him knock himself out. Rubik can't jungle that well, and Crit showing us otherwise. So we'll see how this works. Unfortunately, Abaddon, not the best hero in terms of supports to try and contest Rubik's farm. Like, he'll be able to leech some XP, but, you know, sort of toe-to-toe, he's not going to be able to kill the Rubik. Not like a Venomancer who can really harass him back with Poison Sting and Gale. A bit more of a defensive support. So that is one thing on the side of Mouz, but still, just leeching that experience is a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if the entire point of this Rubik pick is to get a really fast level 6, leeching the experience is a huge boon for Power Rangers. And then they do have the Crystal Maiden there as well. I mean, so it is kind of, theoretically, there could be 3 heroes from each side. I really, really doubt that that Clinks or Weaver is going to rotate, but I have to say, you know, if I see CM and Abaddon versus a Rubik and a Wind Ranger in the jungle, my money's on the CM and the Abaddon as long as everyone's level 2. Because not only does CM put out a real ton of damage, although she's burned a lot of mana on the Frostbite to get the... she's doing a little bit of jungling on her own, but that's kind of risky, I feel. Because now she'll only have 1 spell even when she does level up.
Yeah, I'm probably going to need to grab that Arcane Aura at level 2. But we'll see.
Probably. That would... Well, I mean, she only has the 1 mana pot. If she wants to sustain herself, I mean, especially if she's going to take a little bit of pressure in here, that won't be enough. So that will also, you know, nerf her level 2 fighting capability. Yeah, well, absolutely. It seems, I mean, we do still see Crystal Maidens grab that really aggressive level 2 Frostbite and Crystal Nova, but more commonly, I think, we've been seeing them put that first value point in Arcane Aura and then level up the Crystal Nova 2, 3, 4, 5. Some choose the Frostbite, but whichever one you prefer, level it up primarily, just to get that value point out there to help your other lanes with a bit more sustained, though. This isn't one of those games that Arcane Aura is going to be absolutely instrumental. Weaver doesn't have huge mana problems. Looks like he's going to be working for an early Basilius. Anyhow, Doom, another one. I mean, he doesn't have super bad mana issues. He's just going to be devouring it up. So we'll see. We'll see what he wants to do. But could be an extended pause here. Looks like I like the Power Rangers. I heard him say something like maybe a few minutes. I don't really know. Like, okay. Something like a couple of minutes. I like that. So, you know, I have to say, I feel so amazing now that I've worked out this back problem. I think that's part of my giddiness. I think my general tone, just in general, has improved like tenfold since I found these new exercises that have helped my my bit of back problems. It's just amazing when you have chronic pain and then you wake up that day after and it's just gone. You feel almost like a new person. You're like, wow, my body doesn't hurt right now.
And it's amazing how it changes your mental state, man. I really am just feeling on top of my game. Those past few days before I started those new exercises they were pretty dark, hippie. I don't know. I was really eager just to get off the computer and lay down. You know what I'm saying?
There are those times, of course. I mean, I can't say I've ever been, a subject of chronic pain, but if I had, a particularly bad day, I used to, I did some martial arts when I was younger, and if I had like a really long day with that, and then I would wake up the next day feeling sore, just feeling better the next day, best feeling in the world.
Yeah, it really is. Luckily, I didn't have that chronic pain for too long, but was starting to pinch a nerve a little bit, and those posture exercises, I'll tell you what. But not the longest pause here. We are going to resume, and Hart going to move into the jungle here, and we'll start contesting F-God. Aphotic Shield going to come out, and Crystal Maiden, I thought, may want to throw a Frostbite there. Windrunner does have level 1 Wind Run, so may have been able to survive the pressure anyhow. But now they're going to turn, and here we go. Wind Ranger, just going to get out of range of that Aphotic Shield. Wow, that was a pretty close one. Well played by the Wind Ranger, though. Does make it out in time.
Yeah, did exactly what she needed to. Saved the Wind Run for when she really needed it. So, but now, I mean, that means that J4 could be in a little bit of trouble right here. He probably won't go down because he'll have the shield on himself, but he does have both Crit and the Wind Ranger to deal with. But that regen rune, perfectly timed to let F-God come right back in here, even though he was running a little bit low on mana. He was trying to let his clarity tick him back up.
Yep. Unfortunately, going to prove to be a little bit of a wasted clarity, but of course you can't expect that regeneration rune to come out. And well, you're absolutely right. Well timed indeed. And they will continuing on here. They are going to steal some of these jungle creeps in the long lane. Crit still doing this fancy work here. He's going to pull the bottom lane, get more lane control, come in the way of Mouz down here in the bottom. Going to open up a little bit more room for Clinks perhaps as the creeps do shove into the tower. And Crit going to find some farm of his own. Now going to hit level 2. Those crafty Rubik plays here.
Yeah, man, it's one of those things you'll see in pubs very, very occasionally, and you think to yourself, oh, that would never happen in a real game. They'd get countered. People would know. But no, they'll get protected. That's the thing. When you do these kind of gimmicky strats, I mean, it's not necessarily gimmicky, but when you do these kind of oddball strats, I guess, pro teams don't just kind of do them randomly. They work, a fallback into their drafting plan, into their laning plan to make sure that there is some protection for this kind of off-the-wall, possibly counterable strat.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right about that. It's still counterable here, and as we see, Wind Ranger really posturing in the jungle to try and protect her friend Alchemist, but now Wind Ranger may be in a little bit of trouble here. Great path blocking coming out from F-God, and Hart will be able to make it around. There's that one last Frostbite, and that will be the first blood. F-God going to grab it, but now Crit going to poke his head out of the jungle. He will throw the telekinesis. One more auto attack, going to make it a 1-for-1. And Crystal Maiden will go down. J4 going to be in some trouble as well. Ace on the Nature's Prophet will teleport in. Aphotic Shield going to come, but nowhere for J4 to go. And it will be a 2-for-0 exchange. So they do get a kill on the Wind Ranger. Probably, well, I guess kind of a wash. They did grab that first blood, so a little bit of a bonus, even though it was a 2-for-1. But nice support from Mouz, and well played from Ace to come in with that teleport and make it happen.
Yeah, he picked up the 2 kills. It does open up a little bit of extra space for Cheshire Cat up on the top lane, since Ace had to come in to try to finish that off. He'll be back up there in 20 seconds when his TP is back up. I don't think he'll switch to jungle anytime soon, especially not with Crit doing it. And Crit getting those extra levels, extra experience. You're talking about how well he does with that jungle rotation compared to a traditional support hero, how quickly he's leveling up. He's keeping up with the solo Clinks practically, which is pretty impressive. So, I mean, getting that little bit of extra, man, might get him into that I'm a really strong Rubik phase just a little bit sooner, get him that spell steal, let him be a little bit more active with those extra levels in Fade Bolt. Yep. And it looks like he wants Invoker right here.
Yeah, and in the bottom lane,
no points in Wex yet, so no Ghost Walk.
They're going to commit on Unicorn. Oh, the Sunstrike comes out. Not quite enough. The Aphotic Shield, would have been enough for the kill, but they don't quite get it. Just barely out of range as Clinks is tucked very far back there. Clinks going to get a small stroke of luck right there. He will survive, even though he was dusted. In the mid as well, Invoker in big trouble, and I caught the tail end of it. They will be able to finish him off. Compliments that Elder Dragon form. Action still continuing on down here in the bottom. Ace did port down to try and support, and now they're going to be able to engage on him. There's the Frostbite, a shackle that will latch, but won't be enough to keep the Nature's Prophet alive. J4 going to finish him off with one last missed coil. Now, F-God in kind of an odd position here. He is going to fall to the Wind Ranger, really nowhere to go. He had no hit points, stuck behind the tower. And Unicorn actually very low here as well. Moon going to come in. A Geminate attack may be enough. The Skeleton Walk disjoining the last attack. 22 hit points to spare. Clink's really living life on the edge down here in the bottom.
I was expecting J4 to go in for another railgun there, right, man? Yeah. I mean, that was a very, very low Clinks. If he'd gotten that off before that first attack went in, he would have been dead for sure. Might have even just killed him outright.
Yep. Agreed. So Mouz will find the better of it, though. They get some exchanges down at the bottom, but that kill on the Invoker mid proving to be very effective. And glancing at the gold graph, well, actually, PR is still holding on to a small gold lead. Experience lead going the way of Mouz, but the grabs are pretty negligible at this point. Doom's Devour build here. He does have 2 points in the Devour, 4 in the Scorched Earth. That is giving him a little bit of a farming edge here, probably helping out Power Rangers in terms of the graphs, despite being behind 2 to 4 here at the 6.5 minute mark.
Yeah, absolutely. That Doom, we've discussed it every single time he comes up. He just has that almost built-in Hand of Midas. Gets obviously that 100 bonus gold every 40 seconds once it's maxed out. So that's, what's that, like 120 GPM approximately, 130, something along those lines that he's getting off of that. I'm not doing the math right now, even though it's not that hard.
Not a bad
missed Sunstrike.
Guesstimate, though. Yeah, Sunstrike going to be off the mark here, but Exist still looking like he's going to take a spill. And down he goes. Abaddon going to grab that last hit. Now Ace going to port in. It is porting into a 1v3, but they're not going to be able, or they're not going to have enough to pursue. And Ace will stay alive. Going to hold this mid lane while he waits for Dragonite to make it back from the grave. So a nice kill coming in onto the Dragonite. And now in the bottom, Klink's going to be pursued by Moon. He does have a skeleton walk up, so will be able to survive. And that'll be the end of that exchange down in the bottom. Power Rangers going to add another one to the board. Going to further their lead here now, upwards of 1,000 gold, 7,500 experience. That counter kill on the Dragonite proving very effective.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta give credit to Ace though. He is really making his presence felt all the way around the map, making sure that if people do overcommit, they feel pressured by it, and even if they get in and get out kind of clean, the fact that they know he's willing to teleport anywhere is gonna make them think. It's like, can we do this if a Nature's Prophet shows up? And maybe they won't go for some kills that they'd get otherwise. Maybe sometimes Ace wouldn't quite be ready to TP in, but they're still just afraid of his presence. So they know that he's being a very, very active Prophet. He's gone for the early phase boots to give himself that extra damage and ganks. I actually really, really love that build in general. The early phase boots so that you can project your power with the teleport. That 24 damage is a lot in any given gank if all you're doing is overloading it with auto attacks.
Yeah, absolutely right about that, my friend. And I'm curious if this Invoker is indeed going to go for a Hand of Midas. /Man does have about 1,500 gold in the bank, and if he does want to grab Midas, that could be what he's pooling for, seeming pretty popular item pickup on the Invoker, but we'll hold that thought because down in the bottom here, Klink's going to be in trouble. He is going to get dove on. A dust does come out. Moon going to time-lapse, but Exist ports in. Dragon Tail will be enough to finish him off. Crystal Maiden going to fall as well. It'll be a 2-for-0 swing in favor of Mouz, and Abaddon got picked off in the jungle by the Rubik while all that was happening. So a great response from Mouz, a great port in from Exist as well, and he does turn it around. That Dragon Tail kept Klinks alive and allowed them to set up a double kill on both the Weaver and the Crystal Maiden.
Can you imagine how different that would have been if the Abaddon had made it there instead of getting picked off? That would have been huge. That dive would have just, I mean, you get the shield on the Weaver, you get the heal, he doesn't go down. The shield explosion takes out the Klinks. Nobody really wants to keep fighting them because there's an Abaddon there and no one's ever going to die. It's really, really, I think Crit picking off the Abaddon right there is probably the most key thing that happened in that entire engagement.
And Moon going to be back now. He is going to poke forward, but he's going to get dusted, telekinesed right away. Actually doesn't have the time lapse up. He's going to pursue forward. Will be able to finish off the Wind Ranger. Crit going to try to port out, and he's barely going to make it, but he will make it out indeed. Now the time lapse going to be up, so they can afford to get a little bit aggressive here. Dragon Knight's ult will expire, and that'll be it. Wind Ranger going to fall. Crystal Maiden does survive. And oh, while that's happening in the mid, Klinks did pull a rotation, and they do pick off the Invoker once again. I didn't really catch much of it, but seemed like a pretty straightforward kill. This Invoker doesn't have a lot to his name in terms of survivability. He is going to go Hand of Midas, has the recipe in the bank. So made for a pretty easy kill for Klinks, who is now level 8 and, of course, 4 points in that Searing Arrows.
Yeah, for all I complain about Hand of Midas, I think it's one of Invoker's absolute best options, especially for an Exort build, because the faster you rack up the levels, I mean, don't even think about the gold is helpful, but the faster you are racking up those levels, getting all those agents, especially when Exort is a very, very damage-focused build, I mean, if you can max out your damage that much more quickly, the Meteor is that much stronger, the Sunstrike is that much stronger, and your overall map-wide presence is significantly increased by that XP ramp up to a level that no other heroes really is, unless you're talking about heroes who like really peak around 11 when they get their level 2 ultimate. Very few people benefit from extra experience like Invoker does.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And it is a core item. We see Invokers go hand to Midas usually. Not that we see Invoker picked up that much, but it does seem to be a pretty commonplace item. In the mid lane, that tier 1 tower is going to fall. Glyph comes out just a little bit too late, and Clinks will be able to finish it off with this sneaky little bit of positioning here on the side. 3 Midas on the field, though. 1 in the inventory of the Nature's Prophet on the side of Mouz, and 2 for Power Rangers, 1 on the Doom, who's been farming away, and 1 on the Invoker. And I do actually like the choice for the Midas in this particular game, especially on the Doom, because Cheshire Cat has had a lot of farming room. Nature's Prophet, although has been doing a great job with his global presence, has left a lot of room for Doom to farm up, and he's been moving about the jungle, and when you pair that level 4 Devour with the Hand of Midas, he can very quickly get out of control, and he's number 1 on that net worth chart by a decent margin here. And that's just going to continue to get worse. Clink's in a little bit of a bad position. There is a Sentry Ward down. I don't think he realized it, and he is going to venture too far forward. They should be able to finish him off here. 1 more auto attack ought to do it, and they're not going to get him. The Sunstrike, oh, it's going to catch him. A blind Sunstrike at that from the Invoker. Well played by Wolverine, aka ZXC, whoever it is on that Invoker. All the while, Doom going to be able to finish off Rubik. He did blow the ulti. Shackle Shot will latch, and that will secure the survival of the Wind Ranger. Now they're going to try and turn it around. Power Shot going to connect, exist, looking to pursue, but the support is there, and he is just going to about face. So PR going to grab 2 kills right there, and Doom going to further his farm. Now going to be level 11 as he uses that Midas 1 additional time.
Yeah, I mean, gets off the Midas, gets off the Devour, denies that camp to Radiant if they were deciding to go for it, and picking up a drum now. So now he's going straight from that Midas right into the kind of aura style build. It'll be interesting to see if he starts to go for a more DPS focused build, or if he continues to go sort of an aura style. I think I'd like to actually see a little bit more DPS in this game, just because the Weaver is, I mean, he's got gold, but he doesn't really have a lot yet. He looks like he's going for the defensive Lincoln's pickup, so I'd like Doom to have the damage output they need to have a lot more pressure to apply in the mid game, take towers more easily, kind of go with all the minus armor that Invoker will be putting out with those Forge Spirits.
Yep. I definitely agree. I think Doom would be well suited. He got sort of a hybrid. Aura's mixed with some of that damage, and if he can pick up that pack leader's aura, maybe the crit as well, he will start to be hitting quite hard. Tier 1 tower in the mid lane will fall on the side of Mouz, but they do secure the deny. Dragon Knight going to grab that last hit, and that will deny some of the gold going to Power Rangers, of course. And all the while in the top lane, Mouz heavily pressuring that top tier 1 tower. Clink's chipping away at it with those searing arrows. The Treants come out, and with that, they're just going to try and get the hell out of there. Nature's Prophet will port out Cheshire Cat in the front lines here. Do they have some detection? Yes, they threw down the sentry. They're going to catch the Clinks. Invoker going to grab that one with yet another Sunstrike. That one a little bit easier. But smart idea to throw that sentry down. They do secure a kill on that high-value target, of course, the position 1 Clinks. And now his net worth going to take kind of a nosedive. He is lowest in the pack except for the 4 supports in the game. So that was a very valuable kill right there for the mighty Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's actually... I'm kind of surprised his last hit total is as low as it is. He's 40 and 5 here. He's given safe lane farm. He didn't have crit backing him up, of course, but he did have the Wind Ranger hanging around, backing him up a lot of the time. I guess he was getting dove a lot by the Weaver, so there was a lot of pressure on him compared to your average safe laner. But at the same time, you don't give your Clinks a safe lane, then expect him to not get a lot of last hits. So it could be a problem, especially because, you know, the Dragon Knight is going for what looks like a BKB, so he's not going to have a ton of physical damage output early, so they are kind of relying on that Clinks to get some sort of damage item to try and make sure this happens. Then again, they have the split push pressure coming in from both, you know, the Dragon Knight can push pretty hard solo, they have the Nature Prophet available, they have plenty of good disable, and of course, crit, you're talking about the impact he can have on that Rubik. I mean, he's been very, very good. He hasn't been a game changer yet, but he always could be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just look at the difference in support experience right here. Crit is level 8, and Wind Ranger is level 5. And the side of Power Rangers, a level 7 Abaddon, only a level 5 Crystal Maiden. And Crit, oh, he's barely going to survive. He does have Shikuchi stolen right now, and that will be enough to keep him alive, but just barely. 1 hit from death will suck up those wand charges, and that will be enough to ensure his survival. But Crit, keeping up with the standard here, is leading the way in support experience, and that's just going to continue to grow, I think. One of the things that jungling Rubik that he does is one of the things that makes it so powerful, is that early bit of experience that he grabs. And as we see, he's got Arcane Boots, another 1.2k in the bank. Not sure if he's going to go for the fast Ags. May want to grab a Blink Dagger. But speaking of invisibility, Ace on the Nature's Prophet. He is level 11 now. Is going to engage on F-God down here in the bottom. Exist going to come in. That'll be an easy kill. But he did indeed go for the Shadow Blade first. A very old school Nature's Prophet build. We don't see it nearly as often these days. But Phase Boots, Hand of Midas, into Shadow Blade, into an Orchid or Sheepstick. That is classic Nature's Prophet. And we will see it here.
Yeah, I mean, it helps with the ganking he's trying to be doing. It helps him split push if he needs to. It's still a reasonably versatile item. You just have to be a lot more careful with your usage of it than players previously were with that lower cooldown.
Oh, I heard the Sunstrike coming. Thought it may connect with crit. Shackle did connect with Moon, but it was cleansed off by the Aphotic Shield. Another Shackle not going to latch on J4. Exist trying to pursue here. Ace continuing that global presence is going to hop forward. J4 in a little bit of trouble. Of course, it is the Abaddon. Does have that borrowed time. They're going to try and turn it around onto the Rubik. Support coming in from Power Rangers as well. F-God going to be here. Still no one yet to fall. A lot of low health heroes. We see a port out from Ace. He's trying to make it. Looks like he is going to survive. J4 is going to go down, as will the Crystal Maiden. And Mouz going to find the better of this exchange. Rubik will bite the bullet here. And Moon going to be able to make it away. Still not the exchange that Power Rangers were looking for by any stretch of the imagination. Weaver is going to be able to port out to safety. And Invoker not going to overcommit here. He is going to be forced to back out. He does have that Force Staff now. But, yeah, Mouz going to take a very convincing team fight right there. And this gold graph has just been all over the place, but will now start to trend upward into Mouz's favor.
Yeah, and I think Mouz actually would have been worse off significantly if there hadn't been a good Aphotic Shield steal from Crit. Let him stick around a lot longer, let him get a couple of extra spells off that he wouldn't have gotten off otherwise. And he didn't actually end up casting it just on anyone else, but making them commit a little bit more to kill that Rubik. You know you can't leave Rubik alive, or he's going to keep getting good steals. He's going to keep casting those spammy spells, especially when he has a Aphotic Shield with such a low cooldown and he has the mana boots to sustain it for a while.
Yep.
They knew they had to get him off the field, but they had to put a lot more effort into it than they would have otherwise.
Yeah. So far, Crit's been on with those spell steals, no doubt about that. And looking at the net worth chart, Doom still number one, though Nature's Prophet has been nipping at his heels. They've both been farming very well and actually doing the exact same builds. Phase Boots into Hand of Midas, now into Shadow Blade. That's what's in the inventory of Cheshire Cat.
Unicorn.
Down in the bottom lane, yeah, he's going to engage on Unicorn. The Sunstrike going to be enough to finish him off after the Doom, Scorched Earth, and the Level Death were already dropped on him. So again, another valuable kill going the way of Power Rangers, and one may be coming the way of Mouz. Their Crystal Maiden unfortunately going to get engaged on here, and that will be a pretty easy kill. Going the way of Mouz Sports, Nature's Prophet going to add another one to the kill score. 3, 1, and 5 on that Nature's Prophet. He really has been all over the place. And now it looks like they do want to engage on J4. Abaddon does have the borrowed time. It is going to get procced. Just going to try and position around it. I think they will be able to finish him off. Force Staff coming from the Invoker. Going to buy him a little bit of time. A nice Deafening Blast. Going to back off, or force back the Dragonite. But they're still looking to pursue. Shadow Blade on the Nature's Prophet. Will connect with the Sprout, but no, they're not going to continue on. Cheshire Cat going to get scattered out in the trees. He does have the Scorched Earth on. Needs to be a little careful here. Shackle does fly, does latch as well. Telekinesis comes out. Now Exist going to get turned around on. Looks like a Cold Snap going to come, and he will fall. So they do turn that overcommit into a positive here as Power Rangers pick up a kill on the Dragon Knight.
Am I crazy, or is the Aphotic Shield like hovering above Doom?
Yeah, I just saw that.
Time?
That was weird.
That was so silly.
The telekinesis bugged it out, I guess. Still keeps it up in that elevated state. That's pretty funny. I've never seen that before.
No.
So this could translate into an easy Roche here for Power Rangers, though. They are going to move straight into the pit. Mouz are wise to it, though. Looking at the vision, they absolutely know what's going on. It will get scattered out by the Treants. Roche falling reasonably quickly here with Dragon Knight dead. They need to be careful contesting this. J4 going to get engaged on by Ace. But alas, the borrowed time will keep him alive. Roshan taking heavy damage out here. If they want to contest it, they've got to do it now. And they're not going to do it. That will be a Roshan going the way of Power Rangers. Weaver the one to grab the Aegis. Now they're going to head mid. Looks like they want to pursue onto the Clinks. And they are going to have some detection here, perhaps. Nope. The ward is down, but not close enough. So no kill's going to come. The Abaddon actually does fall before they're able to retreat. Still a nice Roshan from Power Rangers. A little bit risky, but their risk does pay off here in that gold graph again. Going to take another swing. Experience lead now going the way of the Power Rangers. Lincoln Sphere almost complete on the Weaver. About halfway to that, a little more than halfway to that Void Stone. And he's going to have it.
The Abaddon actually suicided himself too, so he didn't give up any gold or any experience. He just killed himself off with Mist Coil.
Oh, it was a suicide. Oh, yeah, there it is. My mistake. I missed that.
Just, significant to note that
oh, certainly.
They didn't actually give anything up except maybe a little bit of gold on the Abaddon, and it looks like he had already bought his items anyway.
Yeah. So, nice heads-up play. Up in the top lane, Ace going to get engaged on Cheshire Cat, making great use of that Doom ulti rotation. and is going to grab himself basically a free kill on the top. Nothing Nature's Prophet can do. And this is where Doom starts to hit kind of hard. He does have Ensnare as well as Raise Dead as his neutral abilities. He did suck up one of those Dark Troll summoners. So, going to have a little...
He's going to go for an AC.
Yeah.
He's saving up a lot of gold right now.
I think AC would be a great item here. Weaver probably going to be grabbing a Desolator next after the Lincolns. That is that classic Weaver build. And Desolator, when paired with an Assault Cuirass, well, that gets dirty pretty quick, Hippie.
It absolutely does. Not quite as dirty as in Dota 1, but it's still pretty darn brutal to have all that minus armor stacked up together.
Yep, and we're going to have Engage. Down here in the bottom exists, hiding behind the trees. They'll find him. Sunstrike comes. It will connect with crit. Crystal Maiden is going to fall to start off this fight. Invoker taking heavy damage as well. J4 trying to come around the backside. Exist does have a BKB on in Elder Dragon form, so he's going to be pretty confident here. The Radiant Courier got picked off somewhere in the fray. I didn't see it fall, but at least last it did. Rubik going to get picked off as Reaver comes in. I said Reaver. Weaver, the Scarab, comes in. A nice Deafening Blast as well. That will connect with Exist. And Invoker is going to survive. They're also going to be able to finish off the Clink. So, is that a 4-0 going the way of Power Rangers? Wow.
They lost one. They lost one early. I think it was the Crystal Maiden.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Went down at the very start of the fight. She just respawned.
Yeah, so CM going to come back. But a 1-for-4. They'll be happy to trade the CM for that. And the buyback status, not so great for our Radiant side. Not sure if it's worth it to burn these buybacks to try and defend a Tier 2. And it looks like Power Rangers will be able to translate that successful team fight into yet another tower kill, and that will level it out to 4 towers apiece. So
I think Unicorn was relying on his BKB getting delivered in the middle of that fight. The recipe was on the courier when it got picked off.
Oh no!
And it died like right over it. Like if you hit your courier hotkey real quick, you can see vaguely where it died, kind of close to the fight itself. So I really think he was looking for that. And that might have been able to help him swing the fight if he had gotten that magic community ready. But alas, minute 45 till he can get his hands on that, and giving up a very, very nasty fight due to the lack.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden that net worth chart is a little bit one-sided with Red floating to the top. Doom going to be #1 by a big margin, and Moon going to be one step closer to grabbing that Desolator. Does have his first Mithril Hammer sitting in the bank, and another 400 gold to his name. And of course he still does have the Aegis as well, was not even popped in that last fight. Looks like we were right about that Assault Cuirass pickup on Doom. He does have most of the core pieces here, just waiting for that Hyperstone, and he is very, very close with about 1,700 gold in the bank. And one of the other scary things, as you were talking about with Midas and the levels, Doom is level 18 right now. He is 4 levels up on the next highest to our Weaver, as well as Invoker at 14, and the highest on Mouz is only 13. So Doom is 5 levels up on the leading experience farmer of Mouz, which is that's just darn impressive.
It's brutal is what it is, man. I mean, just Doom being that far ahead. I mean, he's someone who gets ahead, but just because of the nature of the hero, because of Devour, because he's able to kind of farm just a little bit more quickly. Scorched Earth lets him take care of stacks at a reasonable rate, both with the AoE damage, as well as the fact that he can tank them very, very easily. So it's getting a little grim, I think, for Mouz, especially because Doom in particular does so well against a lot of their heroes. I mean, Nature's Prophet is relying on the Shadow Blade to stay alive, so he's easily ganked. Clinks is still relying on that Skeleton Walk, and Rubik, of course, getting doomed in a team fight just removes all impact. He has gone for that Blink Dagger. You were correct in surmising that he was going to go for that first.
Yep. Yeah, he picked that bad boy up, and now Dragon Knight does have his... Oh, he's had his BKB, going to grab another Ogre Club here, and Clinks, as you mentioned, he's going to be close to his Courier coming up in 5 seconds. That will be the delivery of his BKB, but not before he suffers another death. Doom going to throw the ulti, the level death, and I think the ult might be enough to tick him down, but another nice Sunstrike going to connect with the Clinks, and that will secure the kill. Now Doom may be in a little bit of trouble here, but he is pretty tanky, and support is nearby. They're going to find Crit, and Crit going to be hard-pressed to survive. If he can grab that Blink Dagger cooldown, maybe he can do it. Oh, that auto attack flying in midair. He will blink to the low ground. So he is going to survive. Just going to be a 1-for-0, but still a very high-priority target. Clink's going to get sent back to the grave once again. Yep, and there's that BKB recipe.
Yeah, you know, when your Clinks is getting his first real item at 25 minutes, and that first real item is a defensive one,
yeah,
you know you're in a pretty bad position, especially when you're just losing towers. You have all this minus armor coming in from the Assault Cuirass. If the Weaver does finish off his Desolator soon, he's going to have that, you know, maybe 600-ish gold. Yep. That's a very, very bad spot for Mouz to be in.
Yeah.
And they can definitely, I mean, they can swing it back if they had some really good spell steals. They can always split push it back. They have to be very, very careful not to give up too much more right now, because this could spiral out of control very quickly. I don't think it's lost yet by a long shot. But I do think that Power Rangers has a pretty commanding advantage.
I would agree. I think Mouz are not out of it yet. They still have a chance. I think it is a little bit in the hands of Power Rangers to throw. And part of the reason I say that is because they just have the farming advantage. Right now, they're ahead by a big margin. They've got the map control, and they have the advantage in terms of farming tools. They have 2 Midas, they have the Doom, and what do Mouz have if this turns into a static farm fest? Well, they've got the Singleton Midas in the hands of Nature's Prophet, and they've got this Clinks, who has really just become a liability at this point. As you mentioned, he didn't get the opportunity to grab an offensive item. He's just going to have BKB first, and he very well may suffer another death here. Yeah, Doom going to come out once again. Unicorn just can't catch a break. The Sunstrike going to be off the mark, but Doom just going to start chopping that wood, and he will be able to chase him down with Scorched Earth. I think this will be a kill. Doom at this point going to be enough to finish him off. Yep, down he goes. No way you're surviving that one. So that's part of the reason that even if this, turns into more of a static game and Power Rangers give Mouz some breathing room here, I don't think they have the farming tools to make a significant recovery. I think their only hope is with some Rat Dota with that Nature's Prophet, who does have a Necronomicon level 2 at the moment. But is that going to be enough? I'm not so sure. Invoker has his Sheepstick now, going to use it to start off this fight. The mech does come out, and that will be enough for Power Rangers to disengage. Clink's actually going to buy back right here. He's going to get stuck into this Sprout, kind of an interesting play from the Nature's Prophet. This fight very back and forth so far. Exist going to pop forward. Nature's Prophet, though, going to be able to finish off the Invoker. Weaver going to come around the backside. That'll be the end of the Wind Ranger. He's going to be able to catch the Rubik as well. Does have a Desolator in tow, while the rest of the team is pursuing upward. J4 going to be in the front lines. He will fall. Unicorn going to pop that BKB right before he goes down, but Clinks is going to fall. A very back and forth engage, but PR going to come out ahead. Ace thinking about porting out. The Sentry comes down right away. They need the Vision, though. No cooldown from the Crystal Maiden. Oh, that's unfortunate. Ace will survive. Does end as a 2-for-3 exchange, though. And, of course, that was a dieback from Mr. Clinks. He bought back before that fight and then took the first-class ticket back to the well. He was on the bus that goes to the well. Sorry, I didn't have any follow-up to that little bit of giddiness. But, yeah, very convincing for Power Rangers.
Yeah, and, that entire time Cheshire Cat was pushing the bottom lane. He might go down. No, he's going to try and Shadow Blade away, and the Sentry Ward is going to be dropped too far back to really catch him right there.
on him.
Yeah, the BOTs along with the Scorched Earth means he's at 522 when he's in Shadow Blade right there.
Wow, yeah.
So, yeah, you're not catching him.
He's cruising. He is cruising for a bruising. Just look at crit right here. Weaver doing so much damage. Sunstrike going to come. That's going to be an easy kill on the Rubik. And now Heart going to come in. He may be able to survive. Doesn't have the Wind Run up. Oh, man. 2 easy kills going the way of Power Rangers right there. That should translate into this last remaining Tier 2 falling. Moon with the Desolator will be able to finish it off. Now we're getting closer to that point of no return, though. The Gold Graph going to hop up. Closer to that 10,000 mark. Experience lead is what's really scary, though. Upwards of 14K here at the 28-minute mark. If we look at the level chart, now Weaver taking over as well. He's level 19, Doom level 20. Still not a single level 3 ulti on the side of Mouz Sports.
Yeah, and Weaver is now, he's building towards that Butterfly, and since there's no MKB anywhere near coming out, and yeah, that's just the Doom, man, the Doom. And I actually really, really like how long he's held on to this Ensnare. Because, with the Ensnare, he's been pushing out with the Raised Dead, but the Ensnare has secured him several kills that he otherwise may not have gotten. He's got the move speed, but having those extra few seconds to beat people down, having a little Ensnare, of course, that he can throw out to make sure that Invoker can land those Sun Strikes, it just gives him that added potency running around solo. And unless he gets caught, nobody can kill him.
Dude,
he's got 2,200 life and tons of armor.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, but, what just happened there with Moon soloing Clinks, that is a testament to how far ahead Power Rangers are at this point. That wasn't even... Clinks just got straight up right-clicked down. Weaver chased him down. I don't know what he was doing. He didn't even Skeleton Walk. I guess there are some sentries down at that last point, but he didn't even try the Skeleton Walk. I don't know what Clinks was thinking right there. Unicorn just really falling off. He has so little to his name. His net worth is... quite frankly, just pitiful compared to the leading farmers of Power Rangers, considering he was, after all, the one position of Mouz in this match.
Yeah, the Clinks pick hasn't paid off at all. You could tell Mouz really wanted to get a little more aggressive, but, PR, they knew it was coming. They played very, very aggressive with the Weaver Abaddon in lane. The CM and the Abaddon were very, very good at pressuring the jungle to slow crit down a little bit. And sure, they didn't stop him from getting a lot of stuff, but they definitely put a damper on his rotation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and while also making that Clinks feel uncomfortable in the bottom lane. I pointed out his CS for the first 10 minutes was just, in fact, really poor. I think that's largely because not just because Weaver is kind of hard to lane against, but because there was that support pressure present. And with another Roche, I think this will be an uncontested Roche, and the game will be pretty safely in Power Rangers' hands unless they come up with a pretty big throw.
Absolutely, at the very least, in their hands to throw. And following this Roche, Moon going to be very close to grabbing his butterfly. Does have the Eagle Song, now going to have an Aegis with another, well, 600 in the bank because he has just picked up that Talisman of Evasion. And just going to need that cheap little quarterstaff. So that will be a butterfly before this next fight starts. Invoker, he's pretty damn scary as well. We mentioned that sheep stick. He's got another 2.6k in the bank. So he's got plenty of gold to play around with, whatever he wants to grab next. And, oh, by the way, Doom is working on his Heart of Tarask and has the core pieces. The Reaver, the recipe, and now just a couple hundred gold off that Vitality booster. So we were talking, you were going on about his tankiness before. It's about to get a lot worse here in this upcoming team fight. That will be a Blink Dagger on Invoker with his next item.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more honestly for fun than anything else. I don't think Invoker really needed the Blinks. Just like, oh, I want to teleport places. I mean, not to say that Blink on Invoker is bad. It's really, really good. Invoker really needs some positioning aids, but
he's got a 4-step.
Unnecessary.
Yeah,
more for fun.
We're going to see FGod get taken out here. Rubik actually going to be able to deny the Clinks, so that's a positive play there. Cheshire Cat, he's going to pay with his life. All 5 members of Mouz going to make their way to the top lane, and they will grab a recovery kill. It's going to be a 2-for-1. Wind Ranger going to grab a nice 800 or so gold bounty. Clinks in exchange for the Doom and the Crystal Maiden. He may be tanky, but he is not unkillable, and that will send him into the grave for another 75 seconds, and he does not have buyback. So this is a long duration. That Doom is going to be down, and Mouz will start to capitalize, but PR with the right idea, they're going to force this into a base race. And of course, they do have the pushing advantage, compliments of that Desolator, and of course, a Tier 3 knocking on a Tier 2. They already have a pretty big edge. This fight is going to start, though. There is still some pushing going up in that top lane, but everyone else from Mouz is going to make it back. And here, this engagement going to start. We'll see what they can do, even without the Doom. BKB on the Dragon Knight going to get popped. A nice Shackle will connect with Doom. He's going to be able to time-lapse. Pardon me, not Doom. The Weaver. Nature's Prophet is going to fall. As will the Dragon Knight, perhaps. One more auto attack. Down he goes. A buyback will come from... Oh, that was a tower killed by... a buyback comes from the Rubik as well as the Dragon Knight. But Power Rangers, I mean, they're going to win this fight in a 5v4. They didn't even need the Doom to take this fight. It has the Assault Karas and all that other good bit of damage output. A lot of buybacks burned here from Mouz. They may be able to grab some cleanup kills. Clink's trying to do as much damage as he can, but he is going to fall. Another dieback going to come out here. Oh, no, actually, he hasn't bought back yet, pardon me. Not a dieback, but buybacks coming out all over both sides. This is a pretty chaotic bit of exchanging here. Moon getting very aggressive, going to dive the Tier 4s, looking to finish off some of these kills. Sunstrike going to be off the mark. He will be able to grab a kill onto that Wind Ranger. He still has the Aegis, so Moon feels very comfortable just manning up here and going balls deep, so to speak. And, going to get telekinesed into the well, and that will be the end of the Aegis. But he is going to pop back up, just zoning out everyone from Mouz while the rest of his team wreaks havoc on the base. Doom is now back. He's in the mix, just chopping away at that bottom Tier 3. Believe it or not, a glyph still available for Mouz. But yeah, there it is, going to be burned. I think we may be moments from a GG here, though, Hippie. Looking good for Power Rangers.
Yeah, the practically invincible Weaver, who ended up getting off 2 time lapses before that Aegis went down, he had Alacrity for a good chunk of that fight, so he was not only swinging fast, but because it's the maxed out Exort build, he was getting the extra 80 damage, which of course was getting geminated. That was a pretty brutal engagement, and Moon just showing how really far ahead he is in terms of farm compared to everyone else, and Cheshire Cat might go down again, but maybe Moon will just come in and clean everything up anyway.
Yep, they're exactly right. He is going to fall, but now in comes the Moon. And the Doom was enough to finish off Rubik. Shackle will slow down Moon, but that time lapse going to come once again. Meteor going to roll. Get a tickle Ace a little bit. They're doing a good job keeping Moon crowd controlled here, but the damage has been done. Top lane of Rax, or mid lane of Rax fell, bottom lane of Rax fell. And now a beyond godlike streak for Moon continues on. And they are going to continue to press forward here. Mouz is basically out of buyback, so they can send these remaining heroes to the well. Well, should be enough to secure it here. Exist now going to fall. Nature's Prophet did buy back. Unicorn trying to make it happen. He's going to get sheeped, and yeah, he'll go down. Moon going to end this game 16-1-9. Yeah, he's 16. My tongue just got tied into a knot. 16-1-10 on that Weaver. Jeez. Power Rangers with back-to-back great showings here, Hippie. The Belarus champions reign on.
Yeah, I mean, I asked if they could slay Mouz like they slayed Alliance. I don't think it was quite as one-sided. I think they got a much bigger advantage against Alliance earlier, but they definitely showed the solid game plan. I really, really have to give a lot of credit to Cheshire Cat. He put so much pressure on the enemy team, running around with those solo Doom kills. He'd run up, Doom someone, net him for the Invoker. So much so many kills on that Clinks, who we were talking about how badly he got kept down and badly he got pressured. 3 and 11. Oh. That is not what you want on your Clinks, and I think, you know, we talked about the lane pressure, but a large portion of that's on the Doom. More power to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the name of the game, though, against Power Rangers, ban out that Weaver, one of Moon's signature heroes, and back-to-back games, just an incredible KDA and an incredible showing of what that mighty Scarab can do. Alas, guys, that does wrap up our coverage today. I'm so sorry, I saw the instant replay, and chat exploded with that balls-deep comment. That does wrap up our coverage today of Starladder Season 8, Day 16. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. As always, I am Zyori. With me today is @HippieCasting. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter, guys. He is here. He is our stand-in guy, our standby caster when no one else is available, so we do tip our hat to you, sir. Appreciate your flexibility in scheduling. But an exciting announcement here. Tomorrow, I will be co-casting with none other than Mr. Cinderin. Very exciting. He will be joining us here for at least a week's worth or so of Starladder Season 8 coverage on Beyond the Summit. So I'm sure there are a handful of you out there that are fans of old Cinderin, and I am more than honored to have him as my co-caster coming up. So something to look forward to for Day 17, and we will get started at the regular time, 1700 CET, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We will see you tomorrow on Beyond the Summit.